Now we are starting with the next class. That is Aristotle and leadership and governance. So we can start.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Dixon Chubweze, and today I'm here to talk about Aristotle's view on leadership and governance. So straight to it, Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher, provided profound insights into leadership and governance through his work, particularly Nicomachean Ethics and Politics. This paper explores his philosophy, emphasizing the role of virtue, practical wisdom, and the pursuit of the common good in effective leadership and governance. Aristotle's idea remains relevant, offering timeless guidance for modern leaders and political systems. So, born in Stagira, ancient Greece, Aristotle was the son of Nicomachus, a royal physician to the Macedonian king. This early exposure to medicine and natural sciences likely influenced his empirical approach to philosophy. At 17, he joined Plato's academy in Athens, where he studied for nearly 2 decades. Although influenced by Plato, Aristotle diverged from his mentor by emphasizing empirical observation and practical reasoning over abstract ideas. After Plato's death, he became tutor to Alexander the Great, a role that shaped his political thoughts. Later, he founded the Lyceum in Athens as a school, where he developed a wide-ranging body of works covering ethics, politics, logic, and the natural science, offering a comprehensive view of human behavior and governance. If you take Aristotle, is one of the philosophers that we know with just one name, Aristotle. If you check those days in ancient Greece, the days where it's still, I think some countries still practice it now, that an individual could just have one name and maybe also be tagged with the place of origin. So the best you can get, if you check so deep for Aristotle, you see Aristotle of Stagira. Meanwhile, officially and by record, all we know about Aristotle's identity is just Aristotle. So, the introduction proper. Born in between 384 to 322 BCE, a student of Plato, teacher of Alexander the Great, trying to emphasize something, was a towering figure in Western philosophy. He worked on ethics and politics, provides a framework for understanding leadership and governance. Aristotle views the polis, which is the city-state, as the natural context for human flourishing, which he uses the term eudaimonia. Right? Then with leadership and governance as essential mechanism to achieve this goal. This paper examines Aristotle's perspective on leadership, the qualities of an ideal leader, and his theories on governance, concluding with their relevance to contemporary society. So, leadership and virtue. Aristotle's concept of leader is deeply rooted in the ethical philosophy, particularly the idea of aretes or arete, as the case may be, which means virtue or excellence. In Nicomachean Ethics, he argues that a leader must embody both moral and intellectual virtues. Moral virtues such as courage, justice, and temperance ensures ethical behavior, while intellectual virtues, particularly pronesis, which means practical wisdom, enables leaders to make sound decisions. For Aristotle, leadership is not about power, but about guiding others towards eudaimonia, which means human flourishing, which means guiding others towards progress, attaining goals. So, a leader serves as a role model, fostering virtue in the community through example and deliberate action. So a leader must be intentional. Governance and the common good. Actually, most of the slides have their titles. The first one, this is Aristotle's view on leadership and virtue. This one now is governance and the common good, because we're talking about leadership and governance. In politics, Aristotle explores governance as the art of organizing the polis. Note that polis means city-state. To achieve the common good, he identified three just forms of governance, which includes monarchy, aristocracy, and polity, and their corrupt counterparts, tyranny, oligarchy, and democracy. The best system, he argues, is a mixed constitution that balances elements of all three, ensuring stability and fairness. Governance, for Aristotle, requires leaders to prioritize collective well-being over personal or factional interests. He emphasizes the role of education and law in cultivating virtuous citizens, with a strong middle class as a stabilizing force. Qualities of an ideal leader. Aristotle's ideal leader possesses specific qualities, which includes justice, prudence, temperance, and courage. Excuse me. So for justice, this entails ensuring fairness in decision and resource allocation. For prudence, he talked about exercising pronesis to navigate complex situations, and pronesis, actually, as we established earlier, is wisdom. Temperance, temperance here has to do with practical self-control to avoid corruption or excesses. Courage, this has to do with facing challenges and making difficult decisions. Of course, this is what our leaders are being faced with on a daily basis. These qualities enable leaders to maintain harmony and promote the common goals, aligning individual action with the collective welfare of the city-state polis. Challenges in leadership and governance. So, Aristotle acknowledges several challenges in leadership and governance. Corruption, such as personal gain, pure democracy risks mob rule, undermining rational decision making. Leaders must also balance authority with citizens' participation and address external pressure like war or economic instability. Then Aristotle stresses the importance of continuous ethical reflection and improvement and self-improvement to overcome these challenges. Going forward, some of Aristotle's quotable quotes on leadership and governance, drawn from his major work, such as Politics, Nicomachean, Ethics, and Rhetorics. Each quote reflects his deep insight on power, virtue, and the nature of political life. On leadership and virtue, he noted, number one, that he who cannot be a good follower cannot be a good leader. That's for Nicomachean's Ethics. Then this means that Aristotle believed that leadership begins with the discipline of following well before commanding. The next one, the good of a man must be the end of the science of politics, meaning politics for Aristotle is not about power, but about enabling human beings to flourish. A true leader is one who rules not for personal interest, but for the benefit of the governed. He distinguishes between ruling for the common good, that's true form of governance, and ruling for self-interest, that's perversion. On governance and justice, the law is reason free from passion. This emphasizes rationality and impartiality in governance. Reason free from passion. It has to do with emphasis on rationality and impartiality in governance. The next is where he stated that justice is the bond of men in states for the administration of justice, which is the determination of what is just, is the principle of order in political society. Here he simply means justice is central to political life and stability. Then the next one, he says, man is by nature a political animal. He suggests that humans naturally seek community and governance, unlike other creatures. In other words, humans are naturally social and thrive in organized community, using reasons and speech to pursue justice and the common good. On the role of education and law in leadership and governance, he noted that one of the quotes is, the most important task for the legislature is to make the citizen good by forming habit in them. This means good governance cultivates good virtue among citizens. In other words, where there is a good leader, there will be good followers. Then the next one is that education should be adopted to the form of government. Then here, it means here that education and governance are interlinked. Each regime requires a corresponding civic mindset. So, on power and tyranny, he quotes, the worst form of inequality is to try to make unequal things equal. To explain it, he warned against unjust form of egalitarianism that ignores natural differences. That some things are meant to be allowed the way they are. You must not force them to be equal when they are actually unequal. Then the next one is that tyrants preserve themselves by sowing fear and distrust among their subjects, even fear to their life too. So here he explains that Aristotle critiqued tyranny as ruled by fear and manipulation, in contrast to just governance. I hope this is clear. This is trying to actually bring it one Aristotle has had in stock for us as far back as 322 BC. And it has its significance even in modern day leadership and governance. So whenever you see leaders bringing up fear, manipulation and all that, just know that Aristotle as a philosopher has already mentioned that this will be and will be seen. So relevance to modern leadership and governance. Aristotle's philosophy remains highly relevant today. He emphasized on ethical leadership, aligns with contemporary expectations of transparency and accountability in organizations and government. The concept of a mixed constitution prefigures modern system with checks and balances such as constitutional democracy. He focused on the common good. His focus on common good informs public policy debates, while they call for virtuous leadership challenges leaders to rise above populism, and corruption. Aristotle's insight continues to guide efforts to create just and stable society. Aristotle laid the foundation for modern leadership and governance through his emphasis on virtue, reason, justice, and the common good. He argued that a good leader must possess moral character and practical wisdom, which he called pronesis, to guide society ethically. In politics, he outlined different forms of government, where he mentioned both monarchy, aristocracy, and polity, and warned against their corrupt version, tyranny, oligarchy, and mob rule. He viewed humans as naturally political and believed that active civil participation was essential for a just society. His idea influences today's democratic system, where rule of law, balanced governance, and ethical leadership remains the core principles. Conclusion. Aristotle's view on leadership and governance offers timeless framework for understanding the responsibility of leaders and the organizations for leaders and the organizations of society. By emphasizing virtue, practical wisdom, and the common good, Aristotle provides blueprints for ethical leadership and effective governance. His idea encourages leaders to act as stewards, in other words, servants, of their communities, fostering human flourishing, that's progress, through just and balanced society. As Aristotle famously stated, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. His philosophy remains a beacon for leaders striving to create a better world. In other words here, that means even leadership itself is not perfection. It's something that even the leader has to keep striving, and then maybe also take criticism from the leader, from the led, to keep improving. Here are my references, and as it has to do with this work particularly. And thank you for your kind attention. I would happily share with us the question and answer, both with the professor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That is why I smartly wanted you to be the last, and then after I must have talked about my own, because I could guess his capacity academically. So, and it's a good plot. Okay, question. All right.
I have a simple question. Please.
Did you read Aristotle very well? Did you know about him?
Yes.
Because I keep telling most of you, it's not all about paper, it's not all about attending university, in the name of master's degree, but about being educated. And this must be done by you. Master's degree is no longer looking for somebody to help you. You should do the research. Me should do the research. Okay, go.
Okay, I have a simple question. Can we say that successful government of Aristotle the Great is based on the education that they got from Aristotle?
The successful Greek government of the Greek.
Alexander the Great.
Okay, Alexander the Great is successful. Is asking whether is it from the education he got from Aristotle. Remember what I said, what I've been saying. Education, 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 educare, meaning to educate, to sieve out. Latin word, sieve out. Presumably ignorance. Education is not newspaper, but you have to read it to get yourself informed, well informed, not just informed, but well informed. And again, that you're a student, powerful. But are you global student or emotional Latin student that just stayed here looking for visa, looking for opportunities without educating himself? Education. Education. Aristotle is the answer. Education.
Yes. At this point, I will, as much as I'm talking about Aristotle, I was looking for that slide where he mentioned that a good leader begets a good follower. So, if Aristotle taught Alexander the Great, and Alexander the Great is doing well, it will be of great injustice to say not to ascribe his success to the person that actually trained him. So your guess is as good as mine. He was taught by a good teacher. He became Alexander the Great. Thank you very much.
When you see me, currently I try to manage myself to go to Europe. To be frank with you, sometimes those are not my money because I don't have them. Sometimes they are people that felt that I've acted, I've been a great part in their life. They pay all those things, frankly speaking. In fact, when I was in Berlin, from Berlin to UK, I didn't even know how the payment was done. Those payments were all done by people who felt in their life that they owe me. So that encouraged me anyway. And sometimes when I travel, I'm very smart. I don't go where I will spend money. I go where I know I will be taken care of, because to compare baht and euro, sorry for you, euro. They call it euro.
Yes.
To compare baht and euro, most of you that see I will be posting some of my travel, you will see everywhere someone is waiting for me. And it's a kind of gratitude, which gives me joy, because having been in Thailand, I thought I was so bad. I thought everything about me is very bad. But I realized that the environment matters a lot. Because when you're in an environment, you recruit and bring in people who struggle to survive. Whether you like it or not, and you are with them, the tendency naturally will be that when the pressure was so much, it will be so much on you as well. That is natural. So Aristotle is the same thing, even in his movement in those days. We are talking about leader. Don't get it twisted. These people believe in leadership. You presented Socrates. Only because Socrates was killed, Plato has not forgiven the world till today, because Socrates is his boss. Plato, if he comes, I'm sure in the netherworld they are still fighting, because he has never forgiven Athenians or Greeks or whoever for killing a just man. Then you can bear me witness, Aristotle is a student of Plato, though very critical one. He disagrees with his boss. Permit me to disagree.
With his leader.
With his boss.
Which was his leader?
Yeah, with his we call it leader. We can call it his model.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You see that? Then from Aristotle, you see so many of them coming up. I said it when I was teaching peace and governance. Fellow Africans, my own experience from being in Africa, we have problem with leadership. We always attack leaders. It's not a solution. It's not a solution. Criticize your leader, but it's not a solution. So, most people who train people, when you are successful, you are alluded or being connected with your leader. Okay, next question.
My question is this: why did Aristotle
Can't hear you, please.
Why did Aristotle disagree with Plato's view? This will be a question we will not even finish till next year, because these are staunch philosophers. So, do you have the answer to that?
Okay. So, by way of introduction, I actually did focus this study and presentation on Aristotle's view on governance directly. But as a philosopher, just like our professor earlier rightly said, that philosophy opens your mind. So, and Aristotle, you can see, is someone who is purely intellectually driven. So, the more you read, the more he studied, is apparently he decided to make his own deductions. He decided to have his own point of view. So saying he disagreed with his master here didn't mean they actually quarreled or have a fight.
Correct. Thank you for emphasizing that.
So that's what reading does. That's why you see some people, especially in this world of philosophy and religion, they need to tell us more. The more they study, the more they come out, and you don't understand the person anymore. So this is actually what happened. Academic education, broadening of the mind happened between Aristotle and his boss Plato, his teacher. So I rest
So
it.
can you point out the things that makes you...
Okay, let me come there because let me come in. Where they differ.
He's trying to leave the course. No.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Say I'm intention for asking. Okay.
Say it again so that we'll put you on record.
Because you're just taking
Yeah.
around the question.
No. Allow him. He will keep. I hope we are still on record, sir. Please, can you? Sir, wait. I hope he's still on record, sir.
Yes.
Please say your name before you have the answer, so that we put you on record for always derailing.
Okay, what was that your question? Let him
Okay,
answer.
this is the question.
Your question.
What were their views? What was Aristotle's views that the views he developed that disagreed with Plato's view?
Okay. So in this case, and in the context of these subjects, I have to take this back to Webster. Aristotle's views on peace and governance were presented clearly, not a synoptic study or a comparative study between Aristotle and Plato. So you permit me on the next class and next presentation, when I'll be doing a symbiotic study or a synoptic study or a comparative study between Aristotle and Plato, I will answer your question. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Take your the abstract level. I saw something like numeric figures that he basically focuses on. Let's say.
I wanted to answer.
I hope
that.
is it linked to peace and governance?
Don't jump over. The answer
Okay, let me.
Is it linked to Aristotle's view
Let
on
me get
peace and governance?
let me get to that so that students will get something, because your question is very important.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if he is ready for that.
Because I'm ready to drag him actually.
Where area, in the context of that, there are so many areas. First of all, just as he rightly mentioned, he never disagreed his boss by fighting with his boss. As a matter of fact, after Plato's death, he now read and now decided to question certain things he believed in. And one of them is, Plato is idealist. If you read the allegory of the cave, Plato said someone was given a cave, somebody who, inside the cave, you came out and saw something, and came back to tell the people that you saw something. They preferred the one they saw in the shadow. But you have gone to see something, and then you're coming out to tell them they could not believe you. They even killed you because you're deceiving them. Yet, you're the one saying the truth. That's the allegory of cave, the way I would say. So that's the idealistic idea. But Aristotle believes in practical things. You don't need to confuse your mind. You want something you can see and touch. That is why if you look at it, he says that although emphasizing on empirical evidence, what you can see and touch, you don't give, because Plato was abstract, just like a person of is a thinker. Aristotle looks like more or less a feeler. So these are one major, there are so many areas
Is he a
that,
mathematician?
pardon?
Is he a mathematician?
Almost all philosophers are mathematicians. So that is the area I just want to use this sort of. Aristotle believes in practical things, but Plato believes in idea. All of them are idealists anyway, but Aristotle is more of practical, empirical, something you can show me. I have to see. Well,
Yes, sir.
practical is an over abstract idea, yeah. Do you know the difference between ideas and practical reasoning? You know that, right? You're imagining and thinking of something, but someone is showing you an example. We're talking about leadership, perfect leadership, but someone is telling you, look at how you embrace a leader and choose by example. So that is the area that I have to point out why I want to come in, because these philosophers are very difficult. Each time I allow you guys to come in, you fail, because you need to study the background of the person, where the person is coming from, to understand the concept in order to grasp the main area. Okay, any other question? So don't worry, because it's the last presenter. He escaped. He escaped your loaded questions. So let's leave it at that so that we can go. Okay, so thank you very much. Then let me end the class.